Mark was here. Let's see who turns up in the chat. It's a bit quiet. I hope this got listed okay. There we go. There's 4 people now. Anyway, it's cold. It's something that is. It's not warm. It's something that's not. Tea and biscuits. Hello. It's not a warm day at all. It's a bit miserable, to be honest. I've been at work. I'm feeling it a bit, actually. Feeling like I've had a fairly serious sort of a busy day. But anyway. Mark Osborne, good day. Someone's blown up another motor. I saw that. Love to see more content on tether cars, Mark. It's a fairly interesting thing, to be honest. Apart from that, what's happened? I'm a bit late home. I had stuff to do. Stop by and pick this up. Eek. There you go. Welder friend got this pretty hot. He takes on jobs and then discovers that they're more difficult than he thought, and as difficult as I thought they were. Anyway, TIG weld that up, which is excellent. If you look at the pretty colours, this has been pretty hot. He's just TIG weld this hole that was in here. So pretty happy with that. Still got to have a fraction off this side, but should be good. Does heat change the hardness? Probably not. Probably stress relieves it. Good question. It probably makes it a bit harder, if anything. I don't imagine it was cooled real quickly, so it probably wasn't quenched out, so it's probably hardened it up a bit. Don't know. Don't think it's changed the composition of it. It's been sort of nearly, well, blue nearly. Probably hotter than blue to get enough heat into it to actually get that to stick. I am going to run a cut across it and see how it looks. I honestly don't think that it's going to be too terrible. If anything, it's probably turned up a bit harder rather than softer. Pretty happy with that. But it should be pretty well stress relieved, I think, anyway, if nothing else. So, that job's done. Got to bore that out, face this side and face that side and put a keyway in it. And that bit will be done. Let's see how we go with that. Bit of a job so far. I was waiting for the fridge to come in, but he hasn't turned up. Typical. That's exactly right. Plenty of grease on it. No, I don't think it'll be a problem. I really don't think it's going to wear out anytime soon. But there we go. Well, so I went to buy a split pin assortment because I'm, thought I was feeling rich. I'm not feeling rich. But it's $11 worth of split pins there. There's what's is there 10 in there? 5 of them in each one. So apparently split pins are about $1 each. Not impressed with that. The split pin assortment was fractionally cheaper. It was about $70 for an assortment with about 200 pieces in it. And I really couldn't. I can't see myself using a lot of split pins. I needed these for this pin, which holds this gear in place, and for the gear that holds the headstock in place, or the pin that holds the headstock in place. Hey, William. So that happened. Weren't cheap. Not impressed. Fridge saw these on Marketplace and I went and bought them for him. Bought them for us. 1.25" stainless. Barrel union. Up in Score. Got 6 of these for $10. Right? 316 stainless. Good ones. 1.25". Pipe thread. I don't know what these are worth, you. It's sort of somewhere between $50 and $100 each, probably. I don't know. Ain't cheap at all. Yeah, James, the gear for a uni mat there. 17 tooth pinion, so you can cut metric threads. So these were a score at $10. 6 of them. $10 for the lot. So I was pretty stoked at that too. I had to go and get them though. They were an hour away. But probably worth the trip. Don't know what else I've done. I've had COVID, is what's happened. So I've had COVID. Yeah, last week I sounded pretty crap. If anyone tuned in last week, I don't know how you managed to put up with the 10 minutes of me. You did. But anyway, got 9 people watching. Give us a like anyway if you're sitting at the TV. Otherwise, join in the chat. Got the sheet of tin up here. Look at this. How cool is this? I was going to have a look at this the other week and I haven't got there yet. Put this out of the way because this is pretty heavy. Yeah. Alright. Put that down there. Put these out of the way. Put that back out in the car. Pretty exciting. Of course, everyone buys the same cool stuff off Marketplace, obviously. Anyway, this is some idea. It's got a rolled corner in it. Here with the inch radius and a cutout for the cylinder cover. This is the left-hand side motion cover. It's got to have a piece of brass around it, which is one of those jobs that I'm really looking forward to give you some idea. Hey, Dan. Give you some idea, this goes around the top, around the side and around the back. This bend's going to be a fun thing. And this piece probably isn't really long enough to do that. So I go down the side and up over the, if we put this here, it's about probably 100 mil something short, which is the only offcuts they had. So I was going to rivet this, but rivets are crazy expensive and difficult to find. Not very impressed with that. So I've got quite a lot of these, which are, I think they're 1/4 inch Whitworth round head brass screws. Hey Stuart, hey Dan. Might put them in from the back through and tap the brass. Hold them on like that. Have a look. This is heavy. Give me a second. Gonna put you down. There we go. This goes on here somewhere in the middle. Sort of. There you go. Looks good. Something like that. And they're painted. Oh crap. Painted the same colour as the roller. And then this strip goes around the top and the bottom. So that should be excellent. Very impressed. So that's a work in progress, something that's actually coming together pretty well. Like to have these done, but August is getting very, very close. I've got a bit of brass sheet here, which I'm going to cut out for back of the back of the gauge glass protector. Something like that, short piece. And screw it on with those 4 clips so that we can put it in place afterwards and give this a coat of paint. So that's another job that we're working on. I haven't done much this weekend, to be honest. I'm not really feeling particularly well about everything. I've had COVID. What's this purple crown thing? There's only 1 or 2 at a time, hopefully. Not many of these sort of bits. There's 2 of these. There's a pair of them. They're matched to the diameter of the cylinder covers and the right offset. Fingers crossed, because I'm not 100% sure they're right, but I think they're okay. Probably just going to use some of these brass screws. Screw these on, I think. Screw it on there. Whether we put nuts on the back or what, I don't know yet. And the other one's got the right-hand side one. Yeah, the right-hand side one, or the roadside one, has the agent's plate on it, which has still got to be cast. But bit of a job. It's all happening. Fridge, what I got you there, do you reckon this piece in the roller, which screws up into the pipe, see it's got a square in the back, and a round surface, do you reckon that's savable? Do you reckon if we unscrewed it and gave it a rub in the lathe, it'd come up all right? Or do you reckon I need to make new ones? It's a big question. Some feedback on that would be excellent. Try and pet it. That's right, the purple ground thing. I see what you mean about the purple ground thing. Yeah. I think it's new on YouTube. Yeah, this bit on the roller. Screwed in the pipe. It's got a square in there to unscrew it so you don't damage it. So you don't have to put a pipe wrench or something on it and squash it. I think that's a 1/2 inch square. So I think if you've got a 1/2 inch breaker bar, it'd probably screw out. Just a thought. take it out and check. Otherwise, I'll be down there on Sunday and we might take it out and check then. Also, if you're over there checking things, could you see if this gear, if the key for this gear, it should be in a box here. If it's here in the box, I'll bring it with me. But the key for the steering gear is actually in the gear, and not, there's actually a key in it. Would be very helpful. For anyone who missed this, and probably a lot of you missed this, so we'll start again. This is repair job on this hole that was here. Rather than cast a new one of these, because I don't like my chances of getting another one that's good. Can't keep this one and see if the next one's better, because we've got to have to pull this one too. Oh, he's sort of listening. This is what I said. Can you check and see if the key in this gear is actually in the gear? If you're over there, give it a kick with the foot, and if this gear that's on there turns, then there's no key in it, and the key must be here somewhere. So, there you go. That's what. It's not very difficult to find out, but if it's not in it, I better have a closer look for it, because I want to put this back on Sunday, Monday. I'll put the other one back on and get it sorted. The pin for it's here. And a very expensive small pack of split pins to put it together is also here. Don't do it with thongs on. No, it's greasy probably. Excuse me. So anyway, my mate Peter tigged this up for me. He's done a great job with it. A really nice job. It would be. I think this key needs to be oversized, so I think I'm going to make a new key for it, because the keyway in the shaft's slogged. It's 5/8 key. It's got a bit of wobble in it. I'd rather not have the wobble in it, especially on the new gear. So I think I'm going to put an oversized key in it. So instead of a 16mm 5/8 keyway, we're going to put a probably 18 metric 18mm key, something like that. If we can find one, it'll be 20, I guess. So we'll have to mill it down. But probably got a bit of 20mm key steel. Got a bit of key steel here. I wonder what size that is. Drop that. Don't know. It's only 5/8, I reckon. 16 by 16. It's not even 5/8. Right, I'm going to have to find a bit of key steel for this one. Put the original key back in, but we'll have to. Anyway. So then we've got to start thinking about a worm for this. So that's on the list of things to do in the next little while. I have to see about that. I think there's other things that probably require some form of dollars before then. If anyone was watching Mark's live stream and wondered what the little toggle bolt things with handles on them before, they actually go on here. There's one here and one here and one here and one here to hold these in place. Different pitch is the main problem, TMB. Hey Kevin, good to see you. I think it's 1.5" pitch. Don't know what it was off, but it's certainly not going to fit. Stands to reason in basic gear mechanics that if this is 17 teeth and the old gear is 10 teeth and they've got the same centres, then there must be a different pitch. There we go. Probably should measure it before I confirm that, but I think it must be a different pitch. A handful of goodies from my mate. Because I busted one of Fridge's drills, when I was down there doing a job on one of his engines. Went around and saw a mate and he sharpened it for me, which is really awesome. And he's got a Vertex drill sharpener, which is a pretty amazing bit of kit actually. If you can possibly run to one, you should, because they're good. I'm getting all over the place here. But he had a handful of these here and he said, hey, look, try one of these, a single flute cutter, slot drill. Probably for plastic and that sort of thing. Might be interesting for pattern making. Bit keen to see what it does. I think there's a couple of them. There's another one there. Pretty crazy clearance on them. Someone drilled a hole in the finger. I didn't ask about that. Probably best I don't ask about that. We don't need to know about the hole Fridge drilled in his finger. Some of these carbide inserts too, which I think are scraper inserts for wood turning. I know someone who might be able to use them. I might not be the person, but I might pass them on to someone who can. I believe they're scraper inserts for a wood turning tool. Don't know, they might make a good wood turning tool. They're probably for there's a lot of them, so they're probably for some sort of a jointer or thickness of machine. Don't know. Is it sore yet, Dan? So they're jobs that I've sort of spent a crazy amount of time on. We had a look at these before Dan got here. Picked up 6 of these for $10 on Marketplace. There is still some bargains out there. Don't know what they're worth new. Yeah, it's going to get sore before it gets better. Anyway, 1.25 inch, 316 stainless, 1.25 inch. I'd say they're worth a fair bit. 6 of them. Score. Absolute score. It's my Marketplace find. That's the Marketplace find for the week. I do have a lot of steam engine bits here. Fingers are worth a fair bit too, probably. This bench is all dirty. Just looking for that drill. Went that way. Can see it down there. I'll pick it up in a second. They're all things that have been going on. But I really haven't said that. There's all these bits here and there's all this stuff that we're looking at. As far as the weekend was, it was a complete write-off because I spent most of it in bed. A little bit of it sitting at my desk. So that brings us to the next thing. Is this monstrosity of a thing. Been working on this a bit. It's a truck. It's not finished by any means. It's been a bit of a job. I've sort of been putting these off. It's still got to be painted. I think that cream colour maybe. I haven't decided yet. Don't think it'll be red. Probably the cream colour, could be green. Don't know yet. And I was going to put a signboard on top. I don't know if I will yet. Might still. So sorted these doors because they're absolute cow of a thing, to be honest. Not a big fan of swinging doors on the Scar models, but we did it. They got magnet catches. They all work nice. Masked this up, painted green. Masked the guards off and painted them red, and masked the top off and painted that green. Probably going to put a stripe around here, whether I actually put decals on it, on here. Don't know what else is going to actually happen with it, but we'll see. That's sort of been a bit of a feature of my weekend, is messing with this. And it's on a deadline too, so it was good to get a little bit of progress in the hard jobs that I've been putting off. Have a look, you can see the pedals in there. Dashboard, what else can you see? I don't know, we're going to need a light. That's not helpful. See the gear lever. There's a, have a look. Have a look, there's a engine tacho there on the dashboard. Gear lever. There's a throttle pedal down in there, the brake lever. There's a light box with an amp meter there and a red light on it. And there's a heater in there with the controls in the back wall there. Have a look. There's a handbrake in under the seat. So just so you know, this is a crazy project. I don't know why I even took this on. There would have been a lot easier ways to make a diecast, like making my Scar model truck. We've got working steering and the steering box. The steering wheel doesn't turn though, unfortunately. Thought about it, decided it wasn't worth the effort. Proper 2-spoke wheels. James is awake. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Stuart. Got a bit of gauze to go in the grill. Make a bit of fine gauze, which I'm probably going to paint red before I put the grill on. Put the gauze in the back. Got to do something with these headlights, which, to be honest, are probably a fraction tall. Like the headlights, I think when I looked at them, probably looked at the wrong model, and they could have been down there another 5mm, 3mm, 4mm. Didn't happen. Anyway, I've got radiator cap on. These vents are sort of a little bit chunky, but I think they'll do. Got a little bit of weathering on tyres. That's about all the weathering we're going to do. Could do with a good sweep. Look, we've got fuel filler. We've got a level gauge there, a diesel tank gauge on it. Creases in the ends. We've got a sediment bowl underneath. Have a look here. A diff, which is all worm drive. Have a look. And come round here. We've got turntable. We've got batteries that are just sort of sitting in there at the moment. The poor old battery. It might have had a leaky battery at some point, I think. We've got a 12-speed gearbox that needs a dust. It's not supposed to be dusty like that. We'll get a damp toothpick on, damp cotton bud on that. Give it all a bit of a clean. And we've got a Gardner 6 in there, which you can't see a lot of. If we had a pair of tweezers, we could take that panel out and see the exhaust side. Probably 4 6s, I think 24 volt, I think they were. The Gardner probably needs 24 volt batteries. Speedos in the steering wheel. I've got door handles and so forth to go on these doors. Oh, here we go. So there's a door handle and a window wiper to go on the inside. To give you some idea, there's my finger. And door handle goes on the outside. Some point they've got a bit glazed on the inside here. These got glazing on the outside. I put a black ring around them so they look good. And then there's window pieces to go in here, so you won't be able to see any of this here. So the window pieces go in here with glazing on them. And it's still got to have the other half of the bonnet, which I've been procrastinating. That's about the last bit that I am procrastinating, which is the fuel pump side. And we can see that, you probably all see sick by now. You can see the fuel pump side and the air compressor and so forth and so on. Have a look in there, there's the fan and fan belt, all that stuff. Fuel pump back in here and the oil cleaner, filler caps on there. It's English truck, is stiff upper lip and all that stuff. We do. You're more worried about the cold than frivolous things that probably only put your fuel consumption up. It's got a splitter on that stick, so it must be a 12-speed. Sort of pipe under there. Can you see that? There we go. And handbrake cable goes behind it. Skid this right round here, you can probably almost see master cylinder up in there too. Don't know if you can actually. It's there. With a torch you probably can. Anyway. Obviously I've got nothing else to do with my time. I did put these files on a file sharing platform called Cults 3D with a fairly serious price attached to downloading them. So $62, which is about $50 after they're cut. And you can download them and I'll give you a hand to make them if you're that keen. you have to be pretty keen to do it because it's a big job. I don't know if you know this, but it's a big job. There's a lot of bits, and getting your 3D printer to actually perform to the point that it will produce. There's a battery missing. That's why you said 18 volts here. There's a battery missing. It's on the other bench. Getting your 3D printer to perform to the level that it'll produce stuff like this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Just so you know. Just so you know. But if you want to download them, if you search Foden S18, I think, on Colts 3D, they're there. I'll give you a hand. And I will eventually get some instructions and things up as well. It's a slow sort of thing. Hey, John. There's a lot of work in them, but there's about 181 pieces, individual pieces in this that are 3D printed without the bought-in parts, which is the front axle and the wheels and the tyres, the turntable, the diff, little bits like gear levers, and not a lot of bits actually, but there are some bought-in bits. And apart from them, I'm up. There's more than that. It's about 185 files so far because I've uploaded the door handles, which I've made, and the front surrounds for the windows, which I've also made, and so on and so forth. So, bit of a job. If you want to. Am I going to weather it? Not any more than this. I'm probably going to put a coat of clear on the cab when I've got some pictures and lettering and stuff on it, whatever happens. There may not be a crazy amount of lettering on it. And then I'm going to put some details on it. And I think the weathering that it's got now at this point, there's a little bit of rough on the muffler, on the silencer. A little bit of corrosion around the battery tray and some dirty wheels and stuff. I think that's probably about all that it's going to have, to be honest. Don't know if there'll be much more than that. Try and keep it nice. Yeah, it's probably going to get some grease on the turntable too. Mightn't hurt. Should have put that on before I top coated and put it off, but this is only just sitting here at the moment. It is hinged, but it comes off. So if we want to put a trailer on it, we can. Good theory. Probably won't happen. We'll see. Anyway, that was my weekend with painting the cab and hinging the doors. Been putting off the doors because they are a bit of a dog, to be honest. We're going to go there. They're metal hinges that I made up from brass tubing and piano wire. Not a fun thing. But there's a magnet in the little corner here. Yeah, there we go. So, pretty happy with it so far. It's looking like a Foden S18. It's got to have the grill on here and the emblem. Mesh in the back here to cover the radiator sort of so you can see through it. I've got a piece of mesh for it. It's going to be red, I think, the mesh. And some window glazing, and probably want some mirrors on it at some point. I don't know whether they're going to put mirrors on it or what. Hey, Darren. Is there an injector there? Yes, there's a Pempathy injector there. So this is the one. It's got the same problem with the nut as mine. If you have a look, it's got a bulge in it. So there's the two nuts. But this was on Mark's roller. And it's got some issues too, just quietly, but he'll sort that out. I don't know if that's a Fowler number. Probably isn't. It doesn't match your roller. Mark, don't know what the story is with that. This. So new nuts. And a tail that goes on there. So if we look at this nut, which is the existing one, and this tail, which is probably not terrible. That screws on the pipe and it's got a square to unscrew it. It could be a batch number or something from Pempathy, I don't know. And then this screws on here, but the top of this is a bit sort of ordinary, to be honest. I don't know enough about them to comment on that. It's black magic, but this doesn't screw on far enough on this one to tighten it down. So there's obviously something missing on this one. So they're work in progress. I should have them done in the next few days. I'm not going to probably have them done before I get down there on Sunday, but it might be the next weekend. We'll see. It's all happening. Now, I did print some bits and pieces for the next project that we're working on because we've got nothing else to do. Is this horrendous piece of woodwork. Which, if anyone's been following along, well, there is no recovery. I'm actually pretty good, thanks, James. I've been at work today. I'm not terrible. So this project here is a donation box for a new club, which is very, very close to being officially a new club, the Shenandoah Steam Shed. So more about that. Probably next week I'll have a much more informed sort of be in a position to announce that. But at this point it hasn't happened yet. The reason I really wanted that logo fridge to actually be castable is because I was going to make an aluminium or brass plate to go on here with Shenandoah Steam Shed with the logo. That was my thought. You can, but there's a lot more messing around T&B. At the moment we're just a club. And then I've just got to put donations on this board, and then we put a cast plate there, which I've been thinking about pretty seriously. So whatever the logo ends up, I'd like to translate that across to here. It'll have a crank handle of some sort, whether it's like this or something on here to basically crank this. And we've got a couple of Lazy Susan turntables here for pivot points, and I'll put some gears in here. Now, this seems a bit small for this shed, right? I don't like the scale of this because it means the guy's only about this tall, which means that probably that's all right. But when I drew out the treadle lathe, it turned out to be quite a bit bigger than that. I think it's probably too big, but it makes that look disproportionate. And if we're going to use that in place, which I'm not sure we are yet, a matching piece in here, probably needs to only be about that tall, which is pretty tiny. And getting a guy to operate with hinge points and everything's a bit fiddly. So might reconsider this and make this lathe about that tall, and then our guy sort of can get in this shed without ducking his head. And we'll have a guy with a foot working the treadle and some hands on a chisel. And the idea is, the storyline on it is that basically he's making furniture banisters or whatever on this lathe, and he's turning around and throwing his arms up in despair because the other person in a flat cap and overalls is actually using his stack of parts to, this is going to require some imagination because there's nothing actually in the box, using his stack of parts to fire a steam engine that's poked in this doorway here. So and this guy's obviously got a port bottle in the other hand and all that stuff. So that's my thoughts, is just to have this and this, and we'll decorate this accordingly. I've ordered a couple of windows for about $2.50 off AliExpress, and we're going to put one in this side and one in this side, just so give it some interest. So that's what we need to do, is get a lathe and or a couple of guys in here and work out what actions we need to make them do to make them work, and incorporate into that some way of getting money from a slot in this end, visually across through the mechanism and into a hole in this end into the box. So if you drop a coin in, it comes through here. As you crank the handle, it moves along through the mechanism, which is visible in this gap here. And that in turn operates this little guy on the treadle lathe, and this guy picking up bits and putting them in the, basically picking up bits and putting them in the steam engine and drinking bottled port. And maybe there'll be someone else in it as well, but we'll see how we go for time and space and stuff. Anyway, that's the thought. There's no timeline on this. Eventually I'm going to get it done, but it's starting to look a little bit like, give you some idea. If we run other machinery in here, we really need to run like a line shaft and stuff, and it sounds like a lot of messing around. I'm not sure that's going to happen. Anyway, if we put a battery box, there's plenty of room in here. If we put a battery box in here and the light with a switch, when you crank it, it makes the lights flicker or something like that for a certain period of time. That's probably doable too, but we're not going to make it too fancy. Famous last words. But there we go. So hopefully that's as clear as mud, but we've got the basic framework up, and we've just got to really put some windows in it at some point when they arrive, and they could be here tomorrow, they could be a month away. And I was going to put this crank handle in this side, But that sort of alienates left-handed people. Which is a bit miserable. And if you're going to put all the left-handies on, all the lefties on notice and decide that you're going to discriminate against them, you might as well have people in wheelchairs and gays and all those minority groups in the same bucket. And we're not about that. So I think I'm going to put this on the front. Probably with a shaft through here with a worm on it to drive one of those big gears, and some sort of a system to drive the people. Anyway, thoughts? Don't know. They're all things. It's sort of all up here. Don't ask about it too much and you won't be disappointed. I haven't as yet cleaned up that. I did get that welded, but I haven't as yet cleaned up that launch guard and given it some undercoat and sand up. Probably something that wouldn't take a lot. If I spent an hour on it with a grinder and a flat disc, I might find that it comes up pretty easy. And some body filler and a coat of paint, it'd be a very nice thing, but it hasn't happened yet, to be honest. Kid height more than wheelchair height, probably. Yeah, that sort of thing. DMB, yes. So, it's work in progress, just so you know. Along with everything else in this workshop. There's the other motion guard off the other side, the 3mm steel. Need to take them down and actually see if they fit. And when they fit, probably give them a coat or undercoat. And then they've got to have 4 holes. There's a pattern there on the floor. There's probably heaps of patterns in a box here somewhere. But this is a half pattern for these little levers. I think they need a bit more cock, a little bit more angle on them than the ones that Mark got. But that's sort of the style, I think, that I was thinking of. You just got a 3/8 thread, and 4 of them hold each plate on. So I got to at some point cast them. 8 of. I've got nothing else to do. That's kind of it. I'm starting to run out of battery, I think, so I'm probably nearly going to call this. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for your patience last week, because I didn't sound real good. If you've got any automaton ideas, or you discover that you're an automaton gearing expert and you want to have a look at it, send me some sketches of your ideas. I'd be very much appreciative. The company that rolled up this sheet also promised to roll the brass around there on the edges, but I haven't got there yet, and I haven't got the brass for it and all that sort of stuff. So that's not happened. I was going to clean these up too. Haven't got there yet. They're still covered in grease. There's 3 of them here. But yeah, nothing's happened. I have made a new pin. This one's bent. See, bent pin. Put a new one of them in the roller. There's a stack of bits there, little bits that need fixing. Anyway, I'm out, I think, because Bill's left, so all the important people are going. Cheers, everyone. Be kind to each other, especially the lefties and stuff. And we'll have more soon, more next week. It's going to be a fairly big week for me. There's lots to do and a crap load, not a lot of time to do it, but I'll try and get as much done as I can. And more soon. Appreciate the likes and everyone who sat down and watched it. Thanks.